Hi guys, it's Danielle with Northlawn Flower Farms. Thanks so much for joining me out in the garden today. Today I want to talk about how to harvest bachelor's buttons for the longest vase life. And just a few basics of cut flowers. Be sure to cut in the early morning or the late evening, and to always place your cuts immediately into clean water. And be sure to, of course, always use sterilized pruners. So as we look at the bachelor's buttons, I want to take a look at the bud and show you exactly the stage I want to cut in, and I also want to show you exactly on the plant where to make that initial cut. So let's zoom in on some buds now. Okay guys, so let's take a look at a few different blooms. Now this is ideally how I want all the blooms that I'm going to cut to look. It's not open yet, so I know that no pollinators have gotten to it. It's also not experienced a lot of sunlight, a lot of wind pressure, so I'm going to cut it now in the evening, and by the time I visit it in the morning and arrange with it, it's going to be open. Now, if you look at this bud here right next to it, I have tried many years to get this to open, or to even get that to open, and they just never do. So leave these out for a few more days and let them get to this key point. Now, let's look at a flower that's definitely past its time, and we might as well just leave it out here in the garden to enjoy. Do you see this bloom right here? It's fully open. I can see the pollen. I see a lot of wind damage, and it's bleaching out. The color is not as vibrant as I want it to be. This flower I'm just going to leave out here in the garden, or I'm even going to tell this plant that I wanted to produce more blooms by deadheading it. So once again, you know, fabulous, wait on it, and past its prime. So now let me show you where to make the first cut on this plant. Okay, so I'm ready to make my first cut on this plant. I've never cut this plant before, so I'm going to make the cut to the central stem, and I'm going to make the cut really far down. I'm only going to leave about 3 sets of leaves remaining at the base. So, you know, here's the flower I'm going for. So, if we can just slowly follow me down, I'm going to cut all the way down here. Do you see how tall of a stem that is? And what this does is it tells this plant to produce a lot more stems for me from this cut. So I'm going to get a lot more stem production, a lot more blooms, and also the stems are going to be longer and stronger. So now I'm not going to take all this inside, so now I'm actually going to cut away all these side shoots. Don't need to stress this cut out too much by bringing in all this foliage. Strip off all your foliage and place it immediately into water. And as I say, overnight, you know, that's going to open up just beautifully. And also another great thing about harvesting in this form is that you're going to get a lot more vibrant of a color from these plants because they're just never having to deal with the sun bleaching them out. So I hope it was helpful to see how I make that initial cut on the plant, and any other subsequent cuts I make to that particular plant as it pushes out new stems. I'm just going to follow it all the way to where it meets the central stem and go ahead and cut. But you know, if you've never grown bachelor's buttons before and you're looking to get into cut flower growing, whether it be for yourself or you're interested in selling maybe at a farm stand like I do, man, the reward is amazing for almost no effort at all. I'm here in zone 6B, and for me, the bachelor's button is a hardy annual. So I sowed these guys in the fall, about 6 to 8 weeks before our last frost date. You know, all you have to do is amend the soil, sprinkle the seed in, rake it in, water, and that's literally all you have to do. These plants are so tough. They survive, you know, the snow, the freeze, the frost, and they're gonna make an initial rosette in the fall, and they're just gonna winter over like that. And here we are now, you know, May, I don't know, what is it, honey? May 18th, I think. And they're blooming for me, and they go great with things like, you know, my early peonies or my really late double tulips. They're just such a valuable cut to have at the stand as a filler when not much else is blooming as a filler here in my garden. You know, I'm still waiting on that feverfew. I'm still waiting on that larkspur, but the Bachelor's buttons always pull through for me, and they're just such an easy care plant. Well, I really hope that was helpful to cut some Bachelor's buttons with me here in the garden today. And until next time, happy gardening. Bye!